Hello, ladies and gents. Welcome back to Air and Sea with Dylan. And today I wanted to take a few minutes to do a legit tour video of the Chris Craft. As I've mentioned in a couple of other videos, I have thought about doing some tour type videos with aircraft and different boats, putting some feelers out, saying, hey, do you have a cool boat? Tell me about it. Let's do a tour of it. Let's talk about you and some cool stories. So what better way than to give it a shot with my own boat? So quick background, quick history. This is a 1985 Chris Craft Scorpion 230. My mom and dad bought this in 1992, and I was about a year old, and I have tons of little kid pictures on it. I am lucky now to have my own little kid pictures of my kiddos on it. But yeah, so it's a 23-foot boat, inboard, outboard. It's got a pre-alpha Mercury outboard on it. Let's go walk around and take a quick look at that. It's got the Teak swim platform. They said this is considered a pre-alpha, I believe. Hopefully I don't have to write over this and correct it. Let's see if I can get in here and give you a good shot of that. Here we are. I do have a upgraded Solace prop on it. I did end up going one more degree of pitch. I believe I had a 19, possibly an 18 on this before. But when I bought this, I kept the same 14 and a half diameter, but I went up with whatever setting in pitch. What that allowed me to do was to go 35 at $3,000 instead of 30. But it obviously makes it a little harder to get on plane, but I wanted some extra top end on it. So yeah, this is her. I believe when we did the carpet, it was about 8.5 wide. I believe that's called beam. I should know this, so I apologize. But yeah, this is a good walk around. Here's the vents, the aluminum vents we just made when we did the upgrade on the fuel tank. I did end up getting a new trailer. I believe this is a 2017. This is a surge brake double axle Vantage Custom. I believe it's by Venture Trailers. That's where I got it. Oh, I'm trying to get my gimbal to cooperate here. Sorry, guys. We're also doing this all in one take. Here are some of the trailer specs. There we go. Get a good zoom in on that. So, yep, it is a 2017. There's some of the tire pressures and stuff that go with it. So, they said it is a surge brake. I do have an adapter on it. This is a special 5-pin adapter. So that way when you go into reverse, it disconnects the surge portion. So that way when you're trying to back up, obviously you're pushing on it. So you're not locking your brakes. So that was a key portion of it. Sorry, this gimbal is not cooperating very good. As you can see in here, I had to make a new gear. I rounded that off. We made that custom on our laser at the shop. This is new. Here's the front end. I am going to go up in here, give you a better tour. But yeah, she's got 2 windows. This is one thing. This is the easiest way to tell if you have a 210 Scorpion, which are very popular. I have spent some time trying to find this on YouTube and the internet in general. They do exist. There's less of them with the Teak windshield, but the easiest way to tell a 210 from a 230 is the 1 or 2 windows. So, sorry, it's zooming in on my hand. So if you see 2 windows in this type of boat, it's the 230. If you see 1, it's the 210. Allegedly, the 210 was faster because it was a little bit lighter, especially if it had the 350 in it. All right, so here we go. I'm going to give you a nice slow tour. I'll start in the back. Oh, so I'm actually really out here to close it up because, as you can see, the leaves are falling. It is early October, and we are about to get our very first rain in weeks. I will also be most likely making a video about our really low lake lake level. So Lake Champlain, quick fun fact, is measured, I believe, at the King Street Ferry dock. And the reading you get, I believe, is an elevation sea level. So I believe average lake level is supposed to be 97 feet. Flood stage is 100. Right now, we just cracked into 92, I believe. So I'm going to set this up so I can open the back up here. Actually, you know what? I'll just hang on to it. So this right here opens. So there's a little cubby and compartment up in here. I got my paddle, some cleaning stuff, a couple of tools, some belt stuff, because the belts will get squealy. This is obviously very disorganized right now, but then these seats will come off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up quick while I take those out. Don't mind me. Okay, let me take these out real quick. Put these right here. So these guys pop out. This is another modification for 230s. So I can't remember if it's an S or an SL. So one gives you the bump. The other gives you the big platform that comes across the top. So it makes you a much smaller cockpit area. The obvious highlight of the entire video is probably going to be this. So as you've probably seen in the shorts, this is our rebuilt motor. This is a Mercury 2-bolt main. It was a 260 horse. My dad said that back in the day, the boat was lucky to do 35 miles an hour. When we bought the internal rotating components up to RPM to be balanced and machined and all that, he said that the crankshaft grind was the worst he's ever seen, and he does circle track motors for a living. So he's seen a lot of good stuff. But yeah, so we have a couple of specs here. We have a aluminum high volume water pump on it. We have Performer Quadrajet high rise intake. That is the original Quadrajet 4-barrel carburetor. I did send that out to Jet in California to get what am I trying to say here? Basically to have them like jet it and put in the right stuff for the carb that went with your camshaft, your pistons, and all that stuff. This is a 355 because we bored the cylinders 30 thou over. We did use aluminum pistons in it this time. This is the distributor. L88 valve covers were my father's idea. As you can see, I do have the, one more time back over here, I do have the Corvette emblem on them. That's kind of what I was going for. I wanted to be able to pop this and have people be like, wow, that's kind of like a Corvette, old vet. It also has a high volume oil pump in it. So you're supposed to have 10 PSI per 1,000 RPMs. We have a lot more than that. Let's put it that way. So yeah, that's the motor compartment. Another upgrade I did do, I'm gonna come down here, is that guy. This boat did not have a switch on it. So I put one on, and I noticed that I didn't have to run the boat every other week to keep the battery from dying. Whoops, sorry, hold on here. And then this is the battery compartment with a custom battery thing that I made at work. Or I didn't make it, the guys did, but then I had it powder coated with this little strap. So this is the battery compartment. And then over here where the anchor is, this is where the pump is. I'm not going to dig all this out, but that's where the pump is for the trim up and down. Yeah, please bear with me if this doesn't sound super hyper polished or scripted. I'm literally out here just winging it right now. Just kind of how I like to do most of my stuff, or I'm going to like to do most of my stuff. These are new. just like the cockpit cover. I had these done by Ron at the recovery room. I should note this is the only interior work I've had done. Everything else in here besides these are original. This did used to be a pocket. I was a little kid when my dad actually cut the pocket off because it sucked, but that's also redone. Cleaned that up really well. Everything else is all original. Oh yeah, that and the carpet, obviously. This is all original. All right, so let me put these back real quick. Come along for me while I do that. All right, so one thing that I incorrectly assumed was that everything post 85 didn't have teak. I believe I've seen some past 85 that had teak. Some of them had metal. This is a teak option. I love it. It really gives it that classic vibe. This chair does something cool. I'll show you that. Oh yeah, I do have some storage for like my bumpers and stuff out there. But this chair does this cool thing. It kind of turns into like a bench. Ta-da. Turns into a bench. That's kind of neat. When you're all hanging out in the lake, there's not enough places to sit out here. You can whip that out. That turns into a nice bench seat. Another thing too that we fixed, you've got these pockets on either side. This one was blowing out. So when you were back over here, you could see it falling down. So that stunk. So we had that fixed as well this year. Here's the driver's area. This is your seat, a nice comfy chair. Have your handy dandy compass. This is my falling apart phone holder for my phone. And then we have a tack, speedo, which still technically works, but is super wrong. Gas gauge, water temp, oil pressure, trim up or down, and then volts. Sorry, the gimbal's wigging out here. This is my second starter. This is the throttle. Trailer up, down, pretty standard issue. I've had this whole thing apart. This was a disaster. This button would not push through. Being a carbureted engine, you need to have this button work really good so you can operate just the throttle without putting it into gear. And yeah, so basically this thing didn't function, so it almost became entirely impossible to make it oh, look at that. I can actually zoom out to wide angle. So we're going to do that. It made it impossible to start the boat because you couldn't get it into throttle only, and it does not like to start well without having that available. This is going to be tough to do the focus through the steering wheel, but ACC wiper, which we don't have. Come on. Sorry, guys. Panel, horn, which doesn't work. I have an air horn. I mean, there is one up there, but that's on the longest of long list items to fix someday. Blower, pump, and then your nav lights. And then for the moment we've all been waiting for, we're going to go down into what I like to call the 80s. This is down in the Cuddy. I'm going to do a zoom out here. So there are some fluorescent lights up underneath here. Get this really cool mirror thing for doing your makeup for ladies, I guess. It's the only thing I can really determine that you'd use that for. Got a couple of pillows. You have cup holders, and the absolute requirement in the 80s, an ashtray. You get this little closet here. This is where I keep extra toys, med kit, fire extinguishers. This is some carpet that used to fall down. That's all fixed. And then, let's see if I can get this to cooperate. Come on. It's a little messy right now, but there's also more cup holders and an ashtray there. Under each one of these cushions, this was cool. I didn't know this existed until, kid snack. I didn't know this existed until I actually owned the boat. So this is a cooler, and it will drain down into the bilge as the ice melts. There's one on either side. It has this beautiful wood paneling, very 80s. Put that back. I'll show you the one on the other side. All right, flipping around. All right, and there's the one on the other side. Same sort of deal. And then we got this. A couple of things I've had to fix or change while I've been down here. This guy right here, this mirror thing, this whole box fell backwards. So I've had to have this screwed and glued. As I'm sure you can tell, let me flip this one. Come on, sorry, I'm not very used to this gimbal. So, not the right carpet. So the very first thing I ever had to fix on the boat was this. So this was rotting out, and I ended up putting the same 3/4 thick Advantech. I didn't use marine plywood. I used Advantech. Friend of mine has had some sitting outside his house for 15 years, and it looks almost brand new. So I used Advantech. I didn't use marine plywood. Roast me if you want, but I had that replaced, and because I was a lot younger when I did it, I just needed to get the boat back out in the water, so I just went and grabbed some outdoor carpet and put this in myself. Not done very well. I have leftover carpet from putting this gas tank in, and I think I have just enough to fix that. So this will probably be an upcoming video where I rip this carpet out and you get to watch me do carpentry. Not carpentry, but kicking that in. And then I've also had to have this out. I don't have the stops that you would see like right here to hold it up. So unfortunately I do have to push it all the way back and set it on the windshield. But I've also had to have this out and have this like resealed because that was leaking, and there's more lights and stuff under there. So yeah, this pretty much concludes the more extensive tour of the boat. You might have seen in some other videos, this shows you where the connections for the gas hoses are. This is your sending unit for your fuel gauge, and this is where your shut off is, and the stuff will kind of go over to the motor. And then real quick, this is up front. I do have a new anchor light. That's one of my shorts and videos. Quick thread on that. You had to get all of this. You can't really see it, but I had to pull all of this down to do that. That was actually a bigger pain in the butt to do. So yeah, this is the boat. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate all of you. This is my first real boat tour. Like I said, next year I want to put some feelers out. Shoot me a comment if you're in the Vermont area or you're out on Lake Champlain, you have a really cool boat you want checked out. If you want to show me your boat, if you have an old Chris Craft, shoot me some pics, some videos. Boats are cool. I do want to try to get some other tour videos of other people's boats in next year. Going to be more work to do on this later next year, and I appreciate you guys. Thanks for being here. I'm just going to post this video all in one shot, and yeah, no editing. We're just going to send it. So yeah, thanks for being here, and like and subscribe. We'll see you later.